will go through the slides here, but I really do want to answer any questions that you have. I know that people used to be a little shy about cancer. They're no longer so shy about cancer, which is good. We're not talking the big C anymore. But we want to be able to do the best we can about taking care of ourselves. And so that involves knowing what you need to do and then being able to ask questions about what to do. So please feel free to throw anything out that you want to. How many people here have had a mammogram? Look at us. That is awesome. So how many people have told a friend how important it is to get a mammogram? Half. How many people have told more than one friend? Down to about a third. That's awesome. So when you are sitting around and somebody goes, I'm not getting a mammogram, it hurts. Anybody heard that? Yes. Is it true? No. No and yes. Okay. So for the one who said yes, what happened?
Well, you know when they put you on the machine, they, oh, hello. That's all I can do.
So what I would tell you is that when you're doing mammograms and you are in a lot of pain, now yes, there's going to be pressure. There actually should not be pain. You do not have to hurt to get a mammogram. If it is pinching, if it is a significant pain, you tell your technician, they'll adjust the plate.
Yeah, that's what they did. That's what she did.
Exactly. So mammograms don't have to hurt. So when you have a friend who says, I'm not going for a mammogram, it hurts, tell them, and if it does, talk to your technician, okay? So a mammogram is just a picture, it's an x-ray, just like you get a chest x-ray, except it's of the breast. We're constantly looking to improve on mammograms. That's why there's less pressure now than there used to be. There's new techniques on how we're doing mammograms. We're constantly looking for ways to get more information for less discomfort to you and less time in the center, okay? So you'll see things evolving. Digital mammograms are in most places these days. They're easier on you than the old mammograms used to be. And we're looking toward what's called tomosynthesis, which is going to be a 3D reconstruction mammogram. And that's becoming very popular. So it's not everywhere yet, but it is moving here. Okay? So just be aware. However, the advantage of mammograms is how early you can detect things. How small a thing can you feel? Anybody know? Okay, there's a very nice model back on the table. I encourage anyone who is interested in what you can detect to go back and play with that model, because it's a good representation of what you and your doctor are both trying to do to figure out a lump in the breast. There are different things that can make a firmness in the breast, and the most common thing is called fibrocystic disease. A lot of us have it. It actually gets worse with caffeine for a lot of us. So those who have very achy breasts, if you will cut out caffeine for a couple of weeks, you'll figure out if you're one that responds to caffeine. Most people get less tender with that.
Yeah.
But fibrocystic change feels like a soft-boiled egg under the surface. It is not a problem. It's very smooth, rounded. It will move around, and it may be a little tender when you touch it. That's fibrocystic change. You need to know your breast so you know what you have. And if you tend to have fibrocystic change, you'll know it, and then you'll know if something changes. I tell people the best way to tell the difference between cancer and something else, not worrisome, if it feels like that when you put your fingers together, it's probably fibrocystic change. If it feels like that, you need to start worrying more. Okay? Cancers in general are pretty hard. They're not going to be a soft, mushy, move out of the way, soft-boiled egg feel. Okay? They can also be a little bit gritty. You can reliably feel something about that big. Okay? Mammograms can reliably find something about that big. Mammograms cut the size in half. That's why mammograms are important. Sorry, got ahead of myself. But it really, really is important. And the better the mammogram type, the smaller we can find abnormalities. So these days, we've actually picked up a lot of cancers that are called DCIS, and there's actually a controversy over whether those even need to be called cancers. But what we find is that about half of the people with DCIS would eventually make an invasive cancer. If we find it and take care of it then, it never has the potential to spread. Mammograms are good for early detection, despite all the controversy. How many people are aware there's controversy about how to do mammograms these days? How many people saw a big headline, women don't need mammograms anymore?
I've seen that too.
Okay, that's not true. There are groups of women that are being discussed, and it's not because mammograms don't detect things, it's whether detecting things is going to actually improve their quality of life. It has nothing to do with the ability of mammograms to help detect cancer. Okay? American Cancer Society's recommended guidelines currently are for women 40 and over to have a mammogram every year as long as they are in good health. Okay? How many people have heard it's every other year now? That was actually put out by federal guidelines. Okay? And there's a lot of controversy on that. Part of that is cost-effective medicine. I've started to figure out how to say that. And part of it is at what age you need to screen for what benefit. We know that mammograms under the age of 40 are not effective for women. Now there are exceptions to that. Family history, etc. Those things need to be taken into account and you need to talk with your doctor. But what's left out of this guideline is somewhere between 35 and 40 we have recommended a screening mammogram. At least by age 40 you need your first one. Okay? For general screening. And then there is a discussion going on across the nation right now whether it can be every other year age 40 to 50. Definitely every year over age 50. So don't get confused. When you see a sensationalist headline like that, go check out the data behind it. Right now we're still saying that women over the age of 40 need to have a mammogram every year. You need to have a physician exam every year. And you should have a good idea of what your breasts feel like baseline. But regular monthly breast exams are not taught as much anymore. Those who want to be taught, I'll be glad to. Again, the model is good in the back. But you should at least have some comfort with what your breasts feel like. How many people feel like it? I don't want to do exams because I don't want to find anything. Nobody in this room. That's awesome. How many people have heard that? What's going to happen if you don't find it early? You go into a stage where we might not be able to do anything. Exactly. The knowledge is power, and you have to take that power for yourself, and you have to help your friends and family do that. Okay. Know the guidelines if your doctor hasn't suggested it. You would not believe what physicians are doing behind the scenes these days. Okay? You are your own best advocate. If you want to get your screenings done, say, hey, I think it's time for my mammogram. Hey, I think it's time for my pelvic. Okay? Physicians are going to respond to that. They've got a lot of people who say, I don't want to be screened. They've got lots of other things that are going on. So if you are your best advocate, then they can be your best advocate.